Hey guys, welcome back to Taylor Series. This is going to be the second video. I hope everybody had an opportunity to watch the first video. We're going to try the 2009, let's get the yellow highlighted, 2009 question number 6. So, the Maclaurin series for e to the x is e to the x equals 1 plus x squared over 2 plus, it's 2 factorial, plus x to the third over 3 factorial, which is 6, and so on. So we learned that in the last video. This is centered about x equals 0. So in this problem here, it says the continuous function f is defined by f of x equals e to the x minus 1 squared minus 1 over x minus 1 squared, for x doesn't equal 1, otherwise we would have it undefined there. And they said the value at 1 is just 1. The function f has derivatives of all orders at x equals 1. So they want you to write the first 4 non-zero terms and the general term of the series for e to the x minus 1 squared about this. So how do we do this? First, guys, you should always have, you have to say to yourself, well, why did they give us this? First of all, you should have it memorized. Second, these are the 4. And in this problem, it says, and the general term. So this is what I do. I just keep it like this, okay? And then every time so now I'm going to have to, we got to color code this, e to the x minus 1 squared, all I have to do is put that everywhere I see an x. So I see an x, I put x minus 1 squared, okay? Let's get a different color here. I see an x, I go x minus 1 squared, which is basically to the 4th. I do another one, x minus 1 squared to the 3rd, which is x minus 1 to the 6th over 6. So when I get to the general term, you just follow the same pattern. Every time you see an x minus 1 squared to the n over n factorial. So if you clean this up, guys, you're going to get 1 plus x minus 1 squared plus x minus 1 to the 4th over 2 plus x minus 1 to the 6, remember a power to a power, you multiply, over 6 plus, let's see, x minus 1, we multiply over n factorial. Okay, so that's the first guy, that's e to the x minus 1 squared. Okay, so that's how we do that. And I hate this pad that doesn't have enough room, so I'm going to have to take it somewhere else. So I'm going to go to the answer key for this. So remind yourself, like, let's check our answer. 1 plus x minus 1 squared plus x minus 1 to the 4th, and so on. So 1 plus x minus 1 squared plus x minus 1 to the 4th, and so on. Okay, so this is basically that part here. So the next part is going to say, build the entire f of x. Remind yourself that, let me get rid of this highlighted stuff. Remind yourself that this f of x is e to the x minus 1 squared, which we just built down here. Then you're going to take away 1, and then you're going to divide by x minus 1 squared, okay? You're going to take away 1, and then you're going to divide by x minus 1 squared. So part B says, use the Taylor series found in part A to write the first 4 non-zero terms and the general term of the Taylor series for f about x equals 1. So check this out. First, so our function once again is e to the x minus 1 squared minus 1 over x minus 1 squared. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this function that I have in yellow, and I'm going to minus 1 from it. And look what happens, guys. The positive 1 and the minus 1 goes away. So what do I have now? I have x minus 1 squared plus x minus 1 to the 4th over 2 plus x minus 1 to the 6th over 6. I need an extra term. So how do we do this? Well, I can use my general term, which is x minus 1, and then the next one would have been to the 4th, so this is going to be to the 8th, okay, over 4 factorial, which is 24, and then the general term. So that's what I have after I take away my 1's. And now I got to divide each term by this guy. Well, what is x minus 1 squared divided by x minus 1 squared? That's just 1, so that's him. What is x? So remember, this is just a coefficient. You could push it to the front. So I'm just going to push him out here. What is x minus 1 to the 4th divided by x minus 1 squared? Well, when we divide and we have the same base, we can subtract exponents. So 4 minus 2 is x minus 1 squared. Plus, let's move that 6 out. X minus 1 to the 6th divided by x minus 1 squared is x minus 1 to the 4th because we subtract. And finally, we subtract 8 minus 2. That gives you 6, and that's going to be over 24.